Hello everyone and welcome back to another behind the scenes video with me, your host, Visual Pony. The audio should now be much better because I have just installed a pop filter. Something that I never thought that I would ever use again. But luckily I still had this brand new one laying around. And it seems to work quite perfectly. So let's start with this. I hope that you will enjoy this story. It is another one by our beloved Overlord Flinks, another author that we have seen many times on this channel. And yeah, let's get into it. It is a story that has Star Swirl the Bearded as the main character with Luna. Alright. I really hope that this turned out way better than the other one. I'll just move my mic over here so I can type with both hands. Luna, get out of my house by Overlord Flinks. You know, I find it kind of interesting that not too long ago, I mean, we are bleeding subscribers, but I personally am also bleeding patrons. And there is this thing with exit surveys on Patreon. Look, no hard feelings if people just don't want to support me anymore or don't have the money to do that anymore or something, or the content that I put out isn't their thing. You know, no hard feelings. However, please at least be truthful. You know, because I've had 1 or 2 exit surveys that had me go like, wait, what? Like someone basically saying, hey, there was no way for me to redeem my rewards, my Patreon rewards. And I'm like, wait, what? What? Because the moment you become a patron of mine, you get a download link for all of the stuff. You know, it's like literally in your welcome message. Or another one that said I was not active enough on Patreon, meaning I wasn't releasing enough content. While I do at times release like 3 or 4 stories on there a day, you know? And I'm sorry, but that's still cheaper than getting an Audible subscription. Audible is $9.99 a month. And most people on my Patreon give me $1. Which is very much appreciated, as I say in every comment time. But you know, getting like 4 stories a day for $1. I think that's a bargain. You know what I mean, right? So to say, yeah, the creator wasn't as active as I thought, or didn't produce as much content as I would have liked him to, I must say, sorry guys, this is a hobby. This is not my, my main job. That's just not how it is. And if it was, which I would really like it to be, then okay. Then I'll get up in the morning at like 6 o'clock, have my breakfast and start recording at 7 until evening at 8, you know? But until I can pay my bills with this, which will never happen, this is a hobby. And especially considering all of the pain that I'm going through due to my back injuries and all that, let's just say there are days when I simply can't record because I cannot sit. You know? Those are days when I literally spend almost the entire day in bed because I cannot get my body in an upright position. Those days are very painful and very annoying. Because those are days where I can't do anything. Like, literally anything. Even when I want to get food, I go to the kitchen on all fours, lay in front of the fridge, and just eat some leftovers right out of the fridge. You know? That's how I have to do it then. Or if I don't have leftovers from the day before, then I'm out of luck. Then I'll just have to grab a piece of toast and a slice of sausage, put the two together and eat it. If I had a wheelchair, that might actually help. Because there are those that you can, put the backrest a little bit back to reduce the stress that is put on your back. One of those would likely help, but too expensive, and my health insurance right now doesn't see the need for one. I don't have the money to just dish out for a like 500, 600 euro wheelchair, you know? You know what I mean? So until then, this is how I gotta live, and wish me luck on my disability application, because right now my pain and everything, it's not yet recognized as a disability. Hopefully I'll get that, then I will at least be slightly out of the water. But what can I say? At least this should now sound a lot cleaner than it did before with the pop filter and everything. At least I hope so. I'll definitely have a listen once I edit it. Because the thing is, I do listen while I record. The problem is, it does sound differently once it's amplified, you know? Also, I know that the things that you will now hear in this part of the video will very likely not sound very good, because simply I have the microphone a little bit away from me right now so that I can use the keyboard correctly. So I could technically, until I have to type, I can pull it back over here. And there we go. Having the microphone right in front of me again, so you can hear me better. The problem is simply, I am not a healthy man, sadly. My body has taken a lot of hits over the years, and the ironic thing is that I have taken these hits helping other people. You know, I have taken these injuries being a nurse. I have quite a few, and 9 out of 10 of them are from nursing. There are only 1 or 2 that are not related to nursing. So I'd even call my heart attack in 2020 related, because the stress, you know, that really got to me at times. The stress of nursing was always a very integral part, and the reason why I couldn't go on anymore at points when I was like, okay, you want me to work, but then I need a few days off because, you know, I'm just done. I'm just burned out. And right now I'm just done with it. don't think I'll ever be able to return to nursing. Simply because how damaged my body is. I mean, I'm 36 and at times I can barely walk, so... And as I said earlier, there are days where I literally can't, because I can't get up right. So, yeah. So on those days, I've actually thought about, you know, maybe put a laptop next to the bed and have my mic fastened to the head of the bed and record while I'm laying down in bed. So I don't think that would sound very good. Also, I think that would be a bit going overboard. And with that, the editing of this is done. My joints are cracking. You might have heard that. And no, this was not actually my wrist or my fingers just now. That was my right ankle. Basically all of my joints and whatever, sometimes when I move, they just crack. At times it's painful. That one just now was a little, but nothing more than maybe a bee sting, you know. Nothing I can't handle, in other words. So a bee sting would actually be lethal to me, so... I'm allergic, you know. And that is, oh my word, I can tell you. Summer, for me, especially with all the wasps we're getting in this area, is a real problem. Like a real problem, guys. It's not so strong that so the allergy isn't that strong that I would need an EpiPen, but it's strong enough that I get abnormally large swellings when I get stung, and that alone can be annoying as hell. I once had a wasp sting me on my left
silence.
lower arm.
Complete, serene silence. Not a gust of wind brushing against the old tree's window panes, nor a single chipper from the roosting birds in the canopy above. Silence.
This sounds so much better. Okay, then we just need some music. Yeah, that definitely fits more. Actually, this is a song I haven't used in ages. Space Difficulties. It has been years since I used that one.
Silence. Complete, serene silence. Immersed in the void of blissful silence, his listless, sleep-filled my thoughts. The elements of harmony, long since eyes followed along the written ink of his words. Though I think it mayhaps mean nothing in the end of what I think of them. The elements of harmony were not sent by gods to be handled by me. They were sent to be placed in the highest of Equestria. In my dreams, nightmares, I see the thought you laid out against the paper. The elements of harmony, long since lost to the sands of time, have again retaken my thought. By my own of Equestria, awaken in a blinding white. This darkness I see, it blinds my mind with fear, as well as brings me beacon of something more. It merely may be my tired mind testing me, but I feel as though...
A good thing that I finished the recording phase of this, because now there are sirens going on outside.
This darkness I see, it blinds my mind. A abrupt gust of wind was sent through the entirety of the cramped hovel. The quill skipped against the paper cell.
Let me actually see if I have a quill sound effect. Apparently not. So... free sound. And we are looking for quill. Yeah, we can use that quill sound effect here. Put it in here.
Crafted by gods to be filled eyes followed along the written ink of his work. In each song, the element verily, though I think it mayhaps mean nothing in the end of Equestria. In my dreams, nightmares, I see the maw of a terror white. It blinds my mind with fear, beacon of something more. It merely may be my tired mind testing me, but I feel as though testing me, but I feel as though... The quill skipped against the paper suddenly as an abrupt gust of wind was sent through the entire... The quill skipped against the paper suddenly as an...
Okay, now we need a wind sound effect. Fairly certain I have enough of those. You know what? I will take that sound effect. And that one.
The quill skipped against the paper suddenly as an abrupt gust of wind was sent through the entirety of the cramped hovel. Pieces of paper placed off to the side were sent against the new rush of air.
Now what we need an additional... There we go.
Against the paper suddenly as an abrupt gust.
But we will have to make this quieter because otherwise you cannot hear the narration.
Skipped against the paper suddenly as an abrupt gust of wind was sent through the entirety of the cramped hovel.
I'm sorry if I'm not speaking all too much, but I'm trying to...
Quill skipped against the paper suddenly as an abrupt gust of wind was sent through the entirety of the cramped hovel. Pieces of paper placed off to the side. Pieces of paper placed off to the side were sent against the new rush of air, prompting the stallion working so diligently to raise his head from his work slowly and offer a tired glance to the source of the gust. On the other end of his
Trying to do the story justice.
And offer a tired glance to the source of the gust. On the other end of his quaint hovel, standing in the passage of a freshly opened door, was a single mare with a dignified stature about her. With nary a word, the mare stepped into the stallion's abode, and had the door shut behind her with a the mare stepped into the stallion's abode, and had the door shut behind her.
Okay, there we need the unicorn magic sound effect. And the closing door sound effects. Door sound effects are something that I have a lot.
Stepped into the stallion's abode, and had the door shut behind her with a quick flicker of blue from her horn. The stallion himself snorted a disgruntled
Okay, what music should we use here? We need something else foreboding, you know? Because I'd almost say that Luna isn't just there to play. She might have malicious intent. Because if we see that Starswirl is fearing something bad happening, even though we know from the picture that it's meant to be
Starswirl mare with a dignified stature about her. With nary a word, the mare stepped into the stallion's abode, and had the door shut behind her with a quick flicker of blue from her horn. The stallion himself snorted a disgruntled though the door was... Silence was not to return. Now, the sound of a quill heavily etching into wood through a piece of paper filled the room. returning the home to how it was moments ago, silence was not to return. Now, the sound of a quill heavily etching into wood through a piece of soft, yet audible clear of her throat. "Thou knowest that with such laden strokes of ink, thy inkwell shall be dwindled to nary a dribble, and thy quill will splinter, hm?" The stallion halted a moment, letting his quill dip back into a dribble, and thy quill will splinter, hm? The stallion halted a moment, letting his quill dip back into the nearby inkwell, and for his nostrils to intake a soothing huff. Thoughts of order, duty, practice, and promises raced through his mind before he slammed a rather quick pair of hoofs against the table.
Okay, I think I have the perfect one for this. This one.
A rather quick pair of hoofs against the table, causing his inkwell and quill to clink against one another. The mare did not flinch at the sudden action, holding to her visage a collected and dismissive tone. The stallion put one of his hoofs against his heavy cloak and ran down the hem of it, seemingly to collect his thoughts before speaking. "Prince," and dismissed quill and quill to clink against one another.
This sound effect.
Quill and quill to clink
does fit. Even though it is supposed to be
a rather quick pair of hoofs against the table, causing his inkwell and quill to clink against one another. The mare did not flinch at the sudden action, holding to her visage a collected and dismissive tone.
Okay, now let's go back to the music. Perfectamundo.
"Princess, as much as I do so love unceremonious intrusions of my private dwellings by you, or any member of our cavalcade, require a most to remain as calm, Mrs. Toad. Why are you intruding on? Send my papers to scatter around my home, and tell coming about her face. And do pardon us. Oh, rope a moment more, allowing the princess's words to sink in and digest. Sure enough, he allowed a calm to overtake his expression before glancing back over Luna. He allowed a calm to overtake his expression before glancing back over Luna. He allowed a calm before glancing back over Luna. Before glancing back over Luna. Luna! Please. He kept his teeth gritted together behind his muzzle, attempting to keep all his inner have to thee, she answered plainly. Get out of my house, or I shall tattle on you to your sister. Luna's eyes widened and she, we have not a single fear of our own sister. Go ahead, tell her. She quickly I feel as though there is much in this world I do not yet understand. Writing another trail of the old stallion's words. I feel as though there is much in this world I do not an ally. I am alone with my thoughts for now, and perhaps forever. His quill, freshly inked, was...
Okay, we need, of course, the quill sound effect again.
His quill, freshly... His quill, freshly inked, was drawn out from the well and placed back against the piece of paper, writing another trail of the old stallion's words. I feel as though there is much in this world I do not yet understand. Knowing that, I come to realize how fleeting my world has come to be. I am alone with my thoughts, for I know that my thoughts are my own. There is none other in this world that can understand what it is I think and fear. That is my fear, it would seem, to have none that understands my thoughts. Not an ally, not a partner, not a loved one. I am alone with my thoughts for now, and perhaps forever.
And with this story is done, and I think it turned out rather good. Let me actually know in the comments down below how you liked it, because oh damn it, I saved it in the wrong folder earlier. Yeah, I'll have to remedy that. But yeah, I personally think this story is really cool. As I've said in my comment time already, I have added it to my favorites because I like it. I just like it. It's a different spin on the whole. You know, I would like a whole story series that is basically placed in that timeline where Star Swirl is still around. I mean, I know we now have Star Swirl back, basically, or had him back because of the Pillars of Equestria episode and all that. However, there is always something that that we don't know. Stuff that I would like to see. How was it when Luna and Celestia just took over? You know, stuff like that. That would be really interesting for me to see. But then again, alas, it is not to be. There it is. Now select the audio file, music, Pony&Wolf, edit 1 MP3. Luna, get out of my house. By the way, I'm typing this one-handed right now. Overlord Flinks. But the next part I kind of want to type with both hands, so I'll have to move the mic again a little bit. Sorry. Okay, now getting the Twitter tags again, so you can tweet this out. Anyhow, with this video is also over, which I hope you enjoyed. Oh wow, this little story, that's how long? Like with comment time we had 11 minutes. Took almost an hour to produce. There you see how much work this actually is. Anyhow, sincerely yours, Visual Pony. I hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, I hope that this video finds you well in body and mind.